Bethel Nation. It's Chad.
It's Cam.
And it's Monday.
It's Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, after Sunday.
After Sunday, we were all together.
Yeah, yesterday I thought was really good.
I thought it went really well, too.
It's better than I expected.
I enjoyed myself, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
It was fun playing some music with a band for once.
That last song was awesome.
It was great. I thought Kayla did a great job. I enjoyed myself a lot.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yesterday was good.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was good to see everybody. We got to see, well, not everybody. We got to see a lot of people.
A lot of people.
And some of you all opted to stay home. We understand, and we encourage you to make decisions that are best for you.
Absolutely.
And yours, and that's why we're going to continue to do these things.
We're going to live stream.
Yeah, we're going to live stream, and we're working all the time to make everything better.
The millions of people that are watching us right now is astounding.
Millions and millions. Astounding. I'm astounded.
I am too.
So we're halfway through the Beatitudes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we are.
Man, that happened pretty quick.
There's 8 of them.
Yeah. So we got 4 down. This week we'll tackle the next 4, and you're going to go at the 5th one for us, right?
Yes. All right. So we have been in Matthew chapter 5, where we find Matthew's version of the Beatitudes. It kind of kicks off the Sermon on the Mount. So today we're going to look at chapter 5, verse 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. So I did a little word search to see how many times the word mercy shows up in the Bible. And it's kind of interesting because different translations give different numbers. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes other words must be substituted, and I'll say something about that. But in the King Jimmy version, it's 262 times. So that's a word that is prevalent throughout the Old and the New Testament. Mm-hmm. Mercy, merciful. So this is a big part of Jesus' character and the character of God. God's character is to be merciful. So when we think of mercy, particularly in the terms of the New Testament, it kind of covers several different types of concepts. One is mercy can be understood as compassion.
Yep.
And the word compassion, the root word of that is with suffering. So the passion of Christ, that the passion is suffering. So come with passion. So that means being willing to enter into someone's suffering or to be with somebody in their suffering. Yeah. So it's a relational type of word. We often think of compassion as maybe an emotion, but it's really meant to be an action, and it's being a willingness to enter into and be with somebody in their suffering in a way to help alleviate or try to alleviate suffering. Another word would be the word kindness, which is one of the fruit of the Spirit that we talked about a couple months ago. So compassion, kindness, forgiveness is also a word that is associated with being merciful or showing mercy. And also mercy is the opposite of judging someone. It is the exact opposite of judging someone. And I kind of want to go with that a little bit because, one of the things that Jesus talked about just about as much or maybe even more so than most other topics is judging or not judging others. Oh, yeah. Jesus had a lot to say about not judging others and instead showing mercy, compassion, forgiveness, grace. Grace is often associated with the word mercy. And of course, some of the people that Jesus butted heads with the most were the religious leaders, the Pharisees, the scribes, Sadducees, the chief priests, people who were seen as religious authorities, and they often passed judgment on people. And so Jesus had a lot to say against their habit of judging and being self-righteous and also being hypocritical. So a few other places that we can find this. So if we keep going in the Sermon on the Mount and we jump into chapter 7, here's something that Jesus says. Anything Jesus says is in the Sermon on the Mount is like way up on the chain of what we should be paying attention to. Yeah. Very much so. So he says here, do not judge so that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye while the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. And then in Luke, Luke chapter 6, Jesus says something very similar. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Those are beautiful passages, but they also, in a little way, in some ways, make me a little uncomfortable because the idea that the level of mercy that I show other people will be the level of mercy that I receive. The level of judgment or the kind of judgment that I give to other people or put on other people, Christ is saying God will do that to us. So this is kind of humbling in many ways. I mean, this is really meant to give us pause to think about how we do judge one another and the lack of mercy that we show one another. And so I know as a principal, Chad, when I was early on in my ministry, there were so many times when I just didn't really know what to do, which way to go on something. Somebody would come to me with a problem or an issue, or somebody would come to me about someone else who has a problem or an issue or whatever. And I was a young pastor, and I often just didn't really know which direction to go, what was the right course of action. Even if I prayed about it, I just wasn't always sure where to go. And so I decided that my guiding principle, and even to this day, I would say this guiding principle has even deepened over the years, is this. If I'm going to err, if I'm going to make an error in my judgment, I'm going to err on the side of grace or mercy. Because I feel like when I stand before God one day, based on what I just said, God is going to show me mercy, even if I erred and should have gone a different way. So that's just a guiding principle. When I'm not sure which way to go, or it could be I could lean on the side of judgment on somebody or not, I choose to err on the side of grace. And I do that because I think it's perfectly in line with the strong things that Jesus is saying here. But mercy is an action. It means also if you see someone in need, it's like kindness. If you see someone in need, address that need. Don't just walk on by or just, or whatever. It's a very action-oriented, it's a word that involves intentionality.
I think, to me, mercy is where compassion and grace collide. And so for me, when I look at that word mercy, that's I agree with the intentionality. I think this particular beatitude is backward. I think it should say, blessed are those who are shown mercy by God.
Oh yeah.
For they will show mercy. I think that if we remember who we are, and if we remember who God is, our guiding principle as Christians is to then imitate Christ, is to then be as close to God as we can. And so you think of the level of mercy we've been shown each other.
That's right.
In our lives. I mean,
every day.
You and I could probably just go on about the things that we've seen in our own lives. And so when we examine that idea of, hey, I've been shown mercy, God loves me and he's given me this, it's that love that then compels us to go out into the world and be Christ and be merciful to others. And that's always been a hot button term for me, intentionality. And so when you said that, I mean, I agree 100%. Are we intentional about the way we interact with people, about the way that we love people, and the way that we show mercy? And to me, it's not just showing grace when other people mess up or wrong you. It goes beyond that. It goes into compassion, and it goes into kindness. It goes into those areas so that we, to me, and we talk about this all the time in devotional chats, it's about becoming a reflection of Christ. And in order to reflect Christ, that is like a number one item.
I mean, that's a good thought about, it's kind of like that, we love because God loved us first.
Mhm.
And that is the true order. And I mean, I know you can say this, I know I can say this as an absolute fact. God has been way better to me
Oh man.
than I could ever possibly deserve.
Amen.
And I know that I could give so many illustrations where I felt so down and guilt-ridden and just felt like a worm. And I look back and I can see that God was blessing me
Yep.
in very practical ways, like caring for me and my family in very practical ways when I was feeling that way the most.
Well, we love you.
Yes, we do.
We have lots of love, grace, and compassion for all of you. We appreciate you checking in with us, tuning in with us. Like I said, it was good to see some of you all Sunday, but it's also good to hear from you. So comment, leave a comment, let us
feedback.
know. Maybe you have some sort of good word for everybody else to share about some of these topics that we're talking about,
We'll do it.
or maybe there's a way that you see something different. Man, we'd love to hear from you. It's
Yeah.
always good to have that interaction from
Sure
you.
is.
And we're so glad that we have the venue to do this. Like I said, we love you. We're praying for you. We'll see you next time.
All right, peace.